Come on, everybody. We're starting in just a few minutes, so keep listening to the music, but join us with Brian and Maryann Remsburg tonight. Can't wait. Everybody, good evening. We are so glad you're here. At least we hope you're here. Where are you? Where are you coming from? We want to know. We want you to be engaged. We know there's people here because we see the numbers. We see them coming. But of course, as every night, we can't see you unless you tell us where you're coming from. So as we say in the beginning every night, what's up, friends and family? You are listening to the Eternal Impacts Live It Out live stream with John and Jennifer Garrick. We are unapologetically lifting up the ways of Jesus, promoting grace, and we strive to learn, think, and live like Jesus Christ. We believe in a triune God who loves us and calls us to live out the good news where we live, work, and play. And we put the disclaimer there right from the beginning, so you know we are just Jesus people. Everybody's welcome at this table, everybody from every background, every walk, but you need to know that the lens that we see life is through a transforming relationship with the God of the universe. And we just want you to know that. And so tonight when we're hanging out, whether it's with our guests which I'm excited about our guests.
Yes.
The great people.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. So
it's always fun.
And we can see them. We can see them in the green room. They're actually adjusting their camera right now. Yes, they are. We can see them. And we can't wait to introduce you to them. It's going to be great. But we want to just go through some basic housekeeping stuff. You guys know. Jennifer, tell them what they need to do.
You know, if you find value in the content that we're sharing, or if you're enjoying the community and the experiencing that we're having together, we just encourage you to take a moment and share it with somebody else. We keep saying that. Invite others to join in this conversation and share, just like we said last week.
That's right.
Let others join in, and we encourage that. And as always, you know, be sure to click that subscribe button and that bell if you're viewing from YouTube, and click like or follow us on Facebook. It just helps us out, and we want to encourage others to join in on the fun each Thursday evening.
Yep, it's fun. And what's the most important thing for them to do?
share, share, share.
That's right. Okay, that's the key, because we find that really sharing is the most important thing, not just for algorithms, but that's the best way to get it out to people. We can subscribe and we can do all those things, but really in a live stream format, it's really just sharing with folks. Say, hey, have you listened to this? Have you checked it out? And just share it with them, even if it's on the restream. And so a big hello to all of you who come to us on the restream. So in other words, you're not live with us, but you listen to it later, because this stays on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter, and some people watch it afterwards. And so that's great. We're glad you're a part of the show, but if you can come live, we always love it, because it's fun to get the content and the comments. It helps us build that community. So anyway, we just want to say welcome, and we see different people coming on. I got to look at my little number thing. There we go. Lower numbers tonight, though. Where is everybody?
The weather's nice. You're all out playing.
Well, speaking of nice weather, we are actually in Sisters, Oregon. When we left, it was drizzly. We'll have to ask our guests. They're in the Portland Metro. We'll have to see what the weather's like there, because it was starting to get, cloudy and drizzly.
I know, but we came over here to the sunshine.
I know, it's so great. And it was so gorgeous today. I mean, you're thinking, okay, how gorgeous? Well, let me just say, let me see if I got it here. Yeah, I do. This was my morning. Okay. This is what I got to see this morning from my chair as I'm reading and praying. That's it.
If you're ever wondering why we're drawn to this side of the world, this is it right here.
And I love Oregon City, our home base, but man, it was sure nice in, what month is this? October.
Yeah.
October, to be able to have that and to see it. So it was fantastic. So, yeah, it was great. And I want to just remind you why we're here. We're here because as we're broadcasting from our rolling home. So as you'll notice, yes, same backdrop. That's because we brought it with us.
The Ark made its maiden voyage over the mountain pass.
Yes. And we're calling it tentatively the Ark, just so you know. I mean, the name's still out. I know last week we said we were going to do a little competition on the whole naming of the trailer and the truck. We are still open. We have not posted it. We didn't have time.
We need to do that.
Yeah, we'll get it out. But we're kind of calling it the Ark at this point. But we don't know if we then can call the truck Jonah or whatever, because it's kind of big.
Joe.
Big Jake is kind of there, but Big Jake and the Ark, I don't know.
Ark.
Just doesn't quite fit. But anyway, name competition will be coming. But we brought it down here because we are, as you know, scouting and trying to identify where the best place is going to be for us to launch a retreat home for pastors and leaders. And so this next year, lots of transitions this past year and then this year, because we're living, that's right, the Adventurous Life. And we're going to highlight that book in just a few minutes and the process and the coordinates of an adventurous life with our friends, Brian and Maryann Remsburg. A matter of fact, Brian and Maryann, if you guys are in the green room listening, this is a good time too to pass on to those friends within the Adventurous Life community that may want to join in and have some questions that they want to pass on. I know I put you guys on the comments in Facebook. I just tagged you, but invite others to come and be a part of that. And I just want to remind everybody that the retreats for 2023 for Eternal Impact, they just went live.
Yay!
Yeah, 48 hours ago. And the newsletter is out. And so I just want to remind you, you can go to eternalimpact.org, and at eternalimpact.org, you are going to see not only the newsletter. I mean, if you want to see the newsletter, you can. It's on there. There it is. But not only is the newsletter on there, but is also there's also the retreat page, and you're seeing that space right there. That on the retreat page there, it says Live It Out Retreats. That is Carith Springs. So we're actually on the Carith Springs Ranch right now, and you will remember a few months ago we did a gorgeous outdoor setting for, because we had longer days. It was a little dark for tonight for us to be able to do it outside. We almost recorded from outside.
So nice,
yeah.
It would be night. It would be dark out before we were done.
Yeah, because I'm looking out now. It's starting to get a little dark. But it's a beautiful location. We have partnered with them. We have currently one retreat in Maui that's full. Sorry, for next month. That is full. And then
Imagine that. Filling up so quick.
We're excited about that. But then Live It Out Retreats in Sisters, Oregon, partnering with the lodge, Carith Springs Lodge. And Jennifer, anything you want to tell them about this? Just new? Just
Well, you
get
can
on
just
there?
go to our website. It'll give you all the details of what a retreat looks like. And then you can also register there if you're interested. It has all the dates for you. And we look forward to hosting you. So get the word out to your pastors and friends in ministry that are in need of rest, and point them to our website and have them fill that out. And we'll see if we can get them plugged in and get them to a place of rest.
Yeah, all the details are there, and man, I think we're looking, sweetheart. Am I right on that? We're on all these retreats at Cara Springs. We're looking at a 5 days.
A Monday through Friday.
Yeah, Monday through Friday.
And it can take up to 2 couples at once.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and a couple people have been responding already and have asked us, what qualify? How do you qualify, to be a part of? Good question. As we told them to remind you, we're not legalists about it. We're just have a heart for those, and so does Cara Springs, for those that are in vocational ministry. So those that are either shepherding or an evangelist, or they're a missionary, or they're leading an organization, they're Fellowship of Christian Athletes leaders, they're young life leaders. They're those that really give a lot of their energy and life into vocational ministry. And so we have a special place in our heart for them, and we want to be able to love, listen, and serve them. And that is the qualification. So if you or someone you love, or that you respect and you're caring for, or they're a leader in your own sphere of influence, hey, get them to go to the website, eternalimpact.org/retreats, and get on there quick, because we just put them on there in the last 48 hours, and they're going to fill. I mean, they are going to fill. And
I should say one thing, if it happens that those dates are filled up, Cara Springs runs all year long. And so the dates that are posted up there just happen to be the ones that John and I will be hosting, but you can find other dates that are available to be with other hosts as well. So don't fret if your weekend didn't work out.
Yeah, that's right. And it'd be our privilege to be able to host you on those weeks, but you also have a team of amazing people at Cara Springs that can care for you at other dates during the year. But it would be really great for those that are part of the Eternal Impact family or Live It Out Livestream to get on there on the dates that we're going to be there, and let us serve you. Let us just literally serve you for that week. So looking forward to it, and they're on there. So you've got all the details, no more on that, but you know how to get there, you know how to get online and all the stuff.
Hey, before we dive into our subject for tonight, we just want to say a quick thank you to all of our champions and sponsors, Eternal Impact. You make a difference, whether you realize it or not. Those of you that are supporting us financially, you're allowing us to be able to travel to these locations. You're allowing us to do the retreats. You're allowing us to do this live stream. And we just want to say a thanks for your support.
Yeah, very much. Thanks, hon. That's so true. We do not currently have sponsors that we use, corporate sponsors or business sponsors for the Live It Out live stream, but clearly as Eternal Impact sponsors, it couldn't happen without what Jennifer just said there. Yeah.
Nope, you make it happen.
Yep, you sure do. So thank you. Love you a ton. Thank you. Well, all right. We're usually in this part of the show, we do what's called flashback. So we go back to last week's show and we do a highlight. It was great. It was with David Rains. I encourage you to check that episode out. Jesus is a Realtor was the subject last week. And so check that out about living out the gospel in the marketplace. But I'm not going to do a highlight this week just because we feel so excited to have Brian and Maryann. I did say almost backtalk words. I almost said Myron and Maryann. But anyway, Brian and Maryann, we're so pumped to have them. And so we just want to push that time towards the we can share with you about their book and about their organization and about them as our friends and leaders. And that'd be great. So honey, why don't you do an introduction? Let's know.
We are so excited, as John said, to have our guests and longtime friends, Brian and Maryann Remsburg, who are founders of Adventurous Life. Together, they seek to help others live out their purpose live out their purpose adventurously in all areas of life. Through coaching and offering local and international ventures, they teach you how to overcome obstacles in life. They also are co-authors of the book that we were just telling you about, Your Adventurous Life Awaits, which focuses on 7 coordinates living a purposeful life of adventure. Brian and Maryann have always had a sense of adventure. They spent 18 years living overseas and working in international education and adult training. They have 4 beautiful children. Their first 2 biological children were born in Kenya and the other in Saudi Arabia. Wow. And their 2 youngest were adopted from Ethiopia. So these 2 are no strangers to adventure or travel. So please welcome with me Brian and Maryann.
Yay.
Hi.
Hey,
So good to be here.
Oh my gosh, they're going insane. I can't believe it. Wow. Oh, you guys are very popular. I had no
famous.
idea that the entire
Wow.
crew was coming with you. Wow.
It sounded like the Blazer game we went to last night.
It was. I saw those pictures online, by the way. Very cool. Very
Oh, yeah.
cool. Wow. Well, listen, it is so fun to be with you guys. We only got to hang out for just a couple minutes in the green room there before we started because you guys were, coming from some activity with the kids and all that. Still have 2 kids at home, 2 in college. And so we just want to say we love them. We love those kids. I just posted or just commented on Anya's cool basketball pictures today and on Facebook. And it's just.
They love you guys too. They
yeah.
love hanging out with you. Anytime it's the Garrick fireworks, they're like, "Can we go?"
Oh,
They love being with you all too.
fireworks.
Yes, Team G. We do the Team G fireworks for those that don't know. Around we have international folks that listen to. So just so you know, Americans 4th of July, we do a lot of fireworks, and so we have a little Team G fireworks stand. So yeah, very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, we have so many things that we could talk about tonight, and really just to remind the audience and to remind our guests, this time of an interview, although we prep and we go through, it's really a conversation. It's a chance to just hang out. It's kind of like if you're hanging in the living room, which most people are. They're either making dinner right now, they're on their elliptical, or they're just driving home from work and listening. Some are commenting, some aren't. And by the way, speaking of commenting, I just want to know, I'm looking through the thread here. I kind of miss seeing people come through, but one that just popped that I was reminded of is Penny. So fun. The reason that Penelope, which I always love her online name, Penelope. Love it. But as we know, Penelope, as we know as Penny, she is actually about a stone's throw from here. She is actually one of the hosts at Cara Springs.
Hosting.
Yeah.
And we've had them.
Yeah, we've had them. They
Were
were our first guests. Were they first?
They were our very first guests.
My gracious. And we're actually going to see them later tonight. Looking forward to seeing you guys. But anyway, just really cool to have them on here too. So, I mean, see people around the world and literally across the field from us that are a part of tonight's broadcast. So very fun. And we'll have questions from different people and comments. So I just want to encourage everyone that's listening tonight, make sure to let us know that you're there, that give us a shout out, maybe where you're coming from. And also questions. And remember, put a Q colon, because when we're looking through the thread, it really helps us to be able to see that Q there. And we can sort it by that so we can see if there's a question. So as we're talking about Adventurous Life Awaits, if there is a question, please put it in the thread, whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, or what's the other one? YouTube. We'll get it. Okay, we'll get it. All right. Well,
One
listen.
question from Penny.
Yeah.
So Penny, get a good one ready for us.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right. Penny got a shout out, so we know she's there. So yeah,
That's
and
right.
no fair running across the field and handing it to us on a piece of paper. No, you can't do that. You gotta send it digitally. So, all right. Well, listen, Adventurous Life. You guys have been a part of our life for several years. And when you moved back to Oregon City, and we were so privileged to have you as campus partners at the Epicenter in downtown Oregon City. So fun to see what we called the covertly gospel. We're very overtly gospel, but we loved reading Your Adventurous Life Awaits. Mm-hmm. We loved being influenced by you guys. And we want to talk tonight. We want to talk a little bit about the book. We want to talk about, from a personal standpoint, from you and from our perspective, just how these coordinates are helpful in helping us live out the gospel. And then we'll turn a corner towards the end before we go, and we'll really kind of dive into that from a personal standpoint. How can this material that is very God-honoring, very gospel-centric, help us to live out the gospel where we live, work, and play. And so that's ultimately what we want. And so let's talk. First of all, Jennifer, when we were prepping for this, what did we find out a little bit about the coordinates today?
I thought it was so fun to go back through your book, because I think I read it a little over a year ago, and to see that John and I are actually living out those 7 coordinates right now in so many different ways. We've stepped out of our zone of comfort. We've embraced awkward. We're facing the unknown. We're having a blast on the journey, and we're going forward. And it is such an adventure that we're on. And I think just the fact that we're living in this arc says that we're committed to the journey. So anyway, it was just fun to see how practical each one of your coordinates really is in moving you in forward motion towards a purpose in life and the goals that God puts in our hearts and sets before us. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it is fun. And we also discovered
That's awesome.
we're nuts. We
Yeah,
are
we are
just
definitely
ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I mean,
You might,
Well,
those
that
2
is-
revelations came
you might be
clear.
pushing in your zone of that's crazy a little bit, huh?
But you know
did.
what? Like you said, it's making it go a little bigger. That target zone's going a little bigger, and I'm not feeling it's quite as crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still is kind of in that crazy zone.
But it is fun to see what you guys are doing. I mean, it's incredible to watch, and you're here and you're there, but you are really pushing yourselves and challenging yourselves. And I love to see that, because it encourages us. I know it's encouraging other people as well, just to see you following what God's calling you to do. So it's incredible to watch you guys do it. I love that you're relating it back to the coordinates, but you're really living out your adventure. And it's got to be a little bit scary and risky, or it's really not much of an adventure. So
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
great. That's
exactly.
exciting.
That is true. And as not Bilbo Baggins, was it Bilbo Baggins who said it? And we're going on an adventure. Who is it in The Hobbit? Or not The Hobbit? In
Yeah,
is it
well,
Bilbo?
Anyway, it's
I
Lord
can't
of the
remember.
Rings.
But anyway, we're going on an adventure. You know, but it's so true. All right.
And even this live stream.
Yeah.
That's all a new journey of the unknown and
Totally.
high risk of failure.
Yeah. High risk of failure. High risk of failure.
Especially
we're
with
not
text
failing
involved,
now.
at least for me.
That's right. We're not failing now. We are succeeding. But
We're
all
having
right,
fun.
we're having fun. At least that. Well, listen. We've said coordinates. For us, that's common language. We know what these coordinates are. We can walk through and know the 7 coordinates. But I got the book in front of me. I was a little afraid to try on my own without the book. I was afraid I'd get nervous and do them wrong. But I'm going to give less than 60 seconds recap of the 7 coordinates, and then you guys get to grade me. Okay, you need to get to get if I have actually recapped these, and then you fill in the gaps. Okay, so ready? Who's timing?
Oh.
Okay, here we go. Okay, coordinate number 1: know your zone. In other words, hey, things are going to be uncomfortable, but get out of the comfort zone, because if you don't, you'll never grow. Coordinate 2: explore possibilities. We need to be curious. We need to be open. We need to be available to see what God may have out there beyond what is the right now. Committed number 3: committed to the journey. Coordinate 3. We got to be committed, all in, skin in the game. It gets to that point where it's like, you can't keep getting ready to get ready. You got to be able to do it. And then coordinate 4 is prepare for the unexpected. If you want to do something, there's totally nothing new and no expectations, just sit where you are, because there is going to be the unexpected. It's going to happen. And if you live in our lives, there'll be the unexpected, even if you sit where you are. But either way, coordinate 5, embrace the awkward. That's right. Not everything's going to be easy, smooth, and beautiful. There's times when you just got to embrace those awkward, crazy moments. We might get into a few of those tonight. Coordinate 6 is persevere to your purpose. In other words, stick-to-itiveness. Don't get sidetracked by other really cool, shiny, and great things, because God has a purpose for you. And so when you've got it nailed and you're going forward, stick to that. Otherwise, there's all sorts of noises and sounds that are going to pull you in every direction. Coordinate 7, reflect to grow. Don't reflect, don't grow. Because, you can walk around all day. Here's an awkward one. You can walk around all day with a booger on your nose, and you never know it until you reflect and see it in there and go. I was trying to give a signal to you guys on that. But no, really, you've got to be able to reflect. You got to be able to see and say self-aware, purpose, and no. Okay, those are the 7 coordinates. How'd I do?
2 minutes.
Oh, stink.
Very
Should've
good.
known.
5
Such a
stars.
preacher.
You
Such a
nailed
preacher.
it. You
Okay,
nailed
what
it.
am I
You
missing?
hit a lot of key points
Fill it
there.
in. Fill anything in there on those 7, and then we've got tons of questions.
Man, well, to give a little background on that, people, when we first started Adventurous Life, people would ask us, they said, what do you mean by adventure? Is it just like going ziplining or, doing something like that? People often think of like kind of those geographical adventures, like going climbing a mountain and jumping out of an airplane and all those. And those are, but if those are within your comfort zone, if you go, if you're a backpacking guide and you climb mountains every single week and you take people on trips, it doesn't necessarily mean you're more adventurous than somebody else. It just means that that's what you do over and over and over, and that's within your comfort zone now. So,
Right.
Put that guy in a suit and take him to a boardroom and have him give a speech in front of people. Well, now that's his adventure for him. And so people, we're just asking, like, what does adventure actually mean? And it's really stepping outside of that comfort zone. We call it zone of comfort, and taking the risk. Because the emotions are going to be there that you're not used to. There's risk of failure. And so we just really wanted to define that with all of the different adventures of living overseas, was a huge part of that, of taking us on different adventures. And like we said, or Jennifer, I think you said at the beginning, we've kind of always been adventurous. We've always been kind of curious what's around the corner and wanting to explore. But those years definitely really taught us what true adventure is, and gave us a lot of opportunities to learn and fail and stick our feet in our mouth and learn how to embrace those awkward moments.
Yeah.
I'm
And
glad
I think
that you
I think
defined
to add
that.
to what Brian's saying is, oh, I missed that. What was that?
Oh, I just said I'm really glad that you defined that, Brian.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I
Maryann, go
think
ahead.
to add is that every day can be an adventure. So we want people to think bigger than just the physical things like Brian was mentioning of the going and doing that adventurous thing one time, but having an adventurous mindset that says, I can create adventure and bring it into my everyday life and into my mindset, even with my family, with my work, with my relationship with God, in all those ways, we can have an adventurous mindset, push ourselves and grow.
That's good. Yeah. And you guys do in the book, you guys do such a great job at telling the story, your story. So it's not just a lot of times leadership books or different things like that are like, the 7 irrefutable laws or the, whatever it is. They're these things and everything will be different once you do those things. But you guys really journeyed people through the coordinates with your life examples. And so we're not going to get into all those details today, but if you want to find out, like, why were they in Saudi Arabia? Why were they in Kenya? Why were they in South Korea? Why were they, those kind of things, then you'll get it in the book. It'll come out in the book, but a little plug, a shameless plug for that. And yes, you can get it on Amazon.com today or at AdventurousLife.com. Okay, no, actually, what is the website?
You'll recognize that voice from a podcast that Brian and I might do. John's our voice.
Oh, was I the intro guy? Oh man, I forgot to charge you guys for that. That is big. Oh man, my royalties went up so much. I can't believe it. All right. Listen, we have questions and comments coming in already. And so
I think it's interesting that Gary is asking
I
the
did
same
too.
one that I was about to ask. So why don't you go ahead and pull his
let's bring Gary up.
here.
And before I bring Gary's, I'm going to bring one other. Hey, Roxy, kind of a regular, and she gives a big heart. South Korea. Yes, because Roxy spent quite a bit of time in South Korea, and she married a wonderful South Korean man. And so they live in the United States now, but they spend significant time in South Korea. So fun, Roxy, to have that connection.
Would recognize this one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She's a very common South Korean photo. Yep. Photo
Makes you skinnier.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. All right. Well, Gary wrote this, and I thought it was kind of cool. So you can see it up there. He said, love your book. What was the biggest revelation or challenge for the two of you as you worked through the 7 coordinates? Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the last couple of years, because I think, it's brought everybody such a unique time. But really, it's a great question that Gary asks. And what is the answer for you guys as you worked through writing the book and really living out those concepts as you're writing the book? Because, you're actually living them and doing them before you put them on the page. So tell us about that. What his question is, what was the biggest revelation or challenge, or maybe both?
I'll start with that one. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 things kind of jumped out at me. The first one is really trying to narrow down what those 7 things are that were applicable to really any type of situation. So whether it was going through the adoption process that we went through of living in Saudi Arabia, adopting kids in Ethiopia, and going through an American organization, that was challenging. And then all the travel we did, working with different cultures. So just narrowing it down to 7 that were applicable to pretty much any type of adventure you're going on. That was a challenge. And then also writing about perseverance. That was a challenge. It's funny.
I was going to say that too.
We were writing chapter 6 about perseverance, and we got done and we are like, nope, it just doesn't hit it. And we had to rewrite the whole thing, and then we had to edit. It was like, that one took the most time. And we're like, of course, that one would take the most time.
Of course.
To write about.
What else, Maryann? What did we miss? What do you miss?
Oh, I was going to actually mention about writing as well, just the process of writing together, because I love to write. And I think, when we said, well, let's do this together and really, we're going to come up with the content together. At first, I think he thought I would mostly write it. He'd give a little input and, have his name on there. But we did really work at it together. Brian's really great at teaching and laying out content. And I would kind of sweeten it up a little bit and write the stories. And
awesome.
But editing was not your forte. Painful. So especially chapter 6, like he's saying, it was just so ironic that the perseverance chapter, it really was the toughest chapter and just drug on and on. We could not get it right, and we had to keep going over it. And it was like, well, if we're going to talk about it and write about it, we have to live it. And I do feel like that as we have put language to what we have been living all those years overseas and the growth we've had and why we really got so passionate about sharing it and encouraging others. Once we put language to it, I see it all the time in my life now. And I'll be like, oh, coordinate 5, embracing the awkward at this moment. Oh, coordinate 3, I just got to commit and dig in. It's just pretty actually funny as I reflect on our own writing and how alive it has become, that language in our lives in all kinds of situations. Today at the our son's football game, Brian's parents had sat right in the middle of the opposing crowd because it was undercover. So we're all surrounded by the other team. I'm like, oh, let's just embrace the awkward in this moment.
That is awesome. Just, I do that purposely when I go to games. And I always used to like going, we used to live by a baseball field. And this is like 20 some years ago. And I used to always go to the Little League games when the weather's nice. I'd walk over and root for both teams. And people like, who is this guy? What is it? And I'm just screaming like, yeah, good job, number 4. Or I'd pick up on the names of the people next to him, them calling out for a little, Bobby or whatever. And, that's great. Love sitting in the enemy territory, screaming for the other ones. It's great.
I think
that's why you've grown so much, John. You just put yourself in those situations. It's beautiful.
Right. Just being nuts in the beginning helps. That's helpful.
Are you saying we're nuts too? Is that what
I hear? I'm. You read between the lines, but
this is an intervention.
By the way, speaking of nuts, Roxy here just throws in a little camera icon for you, knowing that she gets it. She hears you, and she knows that picture you're talking about. But anyway, I think you answered Gary's question. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And maybe let's dig a little, press into the last 24 months, hon. What do you think, when you think of all of that?
Just coordinating which coordination?
Yeah. Which coordination? Well, okay. So over the last 2 years, the last 2 years of this COVID craziness, we just like to know, what do you guys think was the hardest coordinate to navigate for you? And maybe independently and then together. Like Maryann, maybe there's one for you that was the toughest to navigate, because everything's changed. It was so much pressure for everyone, and we all went under so much change. So what is it for you, Maryann? What was the hardest to navigate? And then maybe for Brian, for you, and then if there's one that was together, because we navigate these personally, we're all our own being, and we navigate, but then those significant people in our life, and in this situation, a husband and wife, you then have to navigate kind of some coordinates together in your common goals and your common vision. So anyway, what do you guys think on that?
Well, I think 2 stand out probably I would think for most everyone. Oh, I only get to pick one? Oh, he doesn't want me to take his.
It's okay. Okay. Oh, yeah.
I will take his. Prepare for the unexpected. See? You should have gone first. So coordinate 4, prepare for the unexpected. but I really feel like this was everybody lived this, everybody was probably going through the same thing of, it just felt like you had to constantly be ready for something you didn't expect. A kid sent home from school. Well, they were sent home for months and months and a year and a half for one of them, but they'd be sent home even after they went back. And will the games be changed? Will the games happen? How will it affect our business? How will it affect? It just felt like everything in life, emotionally as well as the physical and the calendar and the details, was constantly changing. So for me, it was, and I like change. I'm somebody who really enjoys new things and change, and when it spices and switches up. So I think for me, that was even a challenge, but I kept thinking how much more for people who hate change, who hate something new happening, who really don't handle that well, how hard that must have been. So as we talked to people, that I think was probably one that I saw coming up. And for me, the most of just the constant being ready to switch it up, switch up your mindset and keep positive through it. That was the tricky part, I think. What was yours now?
Before Brian answers,
so I'll give you a little bit of background. And so the coordinates 1 to 3 are really focused on moving towards making that commitment. And then 4, 5, and 6 are focused on the obstacles. Once you make that commitment, you move forward. 4 is the one Maryann talked about, preparing for the unexpected. 5 is that awkward, and 6 is persevering, keep going. And we spent 18 years overseas doing education and came back, and not only were we making the transition to living back here, but both of us stepped out of education, started a new business. We weren't trained in business. We had just got trained in coaching, and so we're starting this coaching business and trying to write a book, and there were just so many obstacles. Everything felt like it was new every time. It was like, okay, we're learning something new. And definitely the unexpected was a challenge. For me, a lot of it was the perseverance too. It was just like, because you work a lot on something and you don't see a ton of results. And teaching, I could plan a lesson, the kids come in, I teach the lesson, I see what they learned, and it was just like, I was very used to that and the progress I made and kept, improving over time and saw the results. Where in the business, it's been a real challenge to see a lot of those results. A lot of those results have been internal in me growing and changing. And some of the results that we've been looking for within our own business haven't come yet. And so to just keep persevering and embracing, being willing to embrace those awkward moments. I started, Gary here's on with us. He helped me to start a networking group together that we did run down at the Epicenter. And that was, for me, part of that was embracing the awkward. I'd never even been a part of a networking group. So for me to start one, and so just lots of learning and persevering and pushing forward. It's definitely felt like an adventure as we've been teaching on it as well. We've been living it to the fullest.
For
sure. One thing that's in that book, you guys, thanks for sharing that, by the way. You talk about the unexpected. The title of that book and that coordinate is Prepare for the Unexpected. And I think that that's one thing that even when you were talking, Maryann, about reflecting and COVID and all that, sometimes we find ourselves not living the adventure because we don't want anything unexpected. We need, depending on our personality, whether it's in our Enneagram or whether it's a personality Myers-Briggs or core value index, whatever it is we're looking, we have certain things about us that are like, no, I need control, or I need it the way that it is. Yeah. And I saw so many of us hit the wall because, when COVID hit, we weren't ready for the unexpected. We were ready for everything to go the way we want them to go. And especially Westerners, man, we have ruts and we have, plans and we're a microwave culture, not a crockpot culture, right? So we want everything done, and so I just feel like the coordinate was so helpful and important. And I do believe, I don't remember which month, but I went back and reviewed that coordinate about a year and a half ago or whatever, in the midst of, that, just doing some reading, because I do feel, missed expectations always lead to disappointment. And so if you don't have your expectations that there are going to be things that are different and things that happen. So I don't know, you have a whole section in there in chapter 4, and someone can get the book and the details, but it even the section is how do expectations impact adventurous living? And so we're going to talk here in a few minutes about adventurous living and how the Lord is calling us to that. But just briefly, could you talk about expectations? Just anything that's on your mind around that, just regarding that coordinate?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about just how I think it is as a believer, you go in this with a whole different mindset because you have to tie into that the leading of the Holy Spirit. So as we make our own expectations and we have our own expectations, we have our own mindset. So let's for a second just talk about that for anyone. You prepare the best you can for life, even especially when you're going on an adventure. You prepare your logistics, you prepare all that. We talk about preparing your mindset, being ready for what might come, having flexible expectations. So now let's add into that the Holy Spirit. And I was sharing with you guys that I have these same 7 coordinates and really written to believers in my next book. And I was just thinking about how Jesus with the disciples, it was like he purposefully sent unexpected things their way. It was like he did it all the time to them. Have you ever noticed that?
Totally.
How the disciples could never know what was going to happen. The next day, it was always a surprise. He was switching it up. He healed in different ways. It was just like the second they kind of thought, oh, I know how he does stuff. Yeah, he did it different. So I feel like for us as believers, we should kind of expect that too. We're never going to quite wrap our heads around what the Lord's going to maybe lead us to or the Holy Spirit's going to put on our heart, because I think he always wants to be, I've seen that in our lives. He always wants to be just pushing us a little farther, making us depend on him, making us know it's him and not ourselves. So I feel like this is very applicable to what we've seen happen in our lives and what I hope keeps happening. I want God to always be throwing something at me that I didn't see coming. Because if I could see it all coming, or if I could just plan for it 5-10 years out, then I don't know, it kind of limits him, I think, in our minds. So this has been what I've been thinking about a lot.
Yeah,
lately.
thank you.
I think you did a great job of explaining it, but I also want to just add one little nugget there, that we don't think expectations are bad. We don't say like get rid of all expectations. Maryann used the phrase in there, flexible expectations. You have your goals still, you're moving forward, but you're flexible. And I think
like
that's
to
really
visualize
the key.
that I hold all those visions very loosely in my hands, like, okay, this is what I'm going for, but you can take out of there and put something else in at any time.
Yeah, it's good. Flexible or resilient expectations. Yeah, that's good.
So I've got a question for you. You spend a lot of time, you're coaching people through various, goals in life and things. But as you're working through those 7 coordinates, is there a common one that you're like, okay, everybody always struggles with this one, or is it different for everybody? Because I could tell you what mine are, but what are you seeing there? Is there a common one in there that like everybody struggles with this one?
Yeah, I would say the common thing that people really appreciate as we're working with them and talk to them about is their own language and their own language that they're talking about in their head. Because part of Know Your Zone is being more self-aware, being more conscious. A lot of times the research shows that we make 95% of our decisions out of the subconscious. So we're not even aware. It's just our habits, our routines, it's our beliefs, and we're not even necessarily thinking. We're just reacting, and only 5% is conscious. And so a lot of times people, as we're coaching or talking with them, use words like I should do that, I need to do that, I have to do that. And they don't realize that just that language is causing them to come across as being a victim to their circumstances instead of saying, no, I want that, I will do this, I plan to do this. And just that little switch in language can make a huge difference, going from feeling obligated to do something, which you're not very motivated, and moving towards that motivation. And so I'd say that one to me probably stands out the most in working with people.
That's good. Yeah. Thanks,
that makes
Brian.
sense. Yeah,
that's good. Hey, one other question. We got some coming through. So I want to, and I see, Penny, since we're going to see her later, I want to ask that one. So Penny asked the question, AKA Penelope, in all of your adventures, what was the biggest fear you faced that you were able to overcome as a couple? Okay, so you guys have been married about 20, how many years? 26. Congrats on
and
that.
A half.
And
count on that half. Come on.
That's right. And a half. That's
She's
right.
counting
Wow.
half
She's like,
years.
man, I thought it was 27.
That was a tough half.
Tough half. Well, talk about, we don't want to talk about which half was there in the 26 and a half. But anyway, that's for a different show. Maybe we just need to get together and talk over a coffee. But answer Penny's question. What is that? The biggest fear, because fear is a crippler for us. Jesus talks so much about it, about how anxiety, Paul talks about anxiety. Jesus talks about fear, but what are they? Fear's real. Fear's a normal part of life. So what was the biggest fear you faced when you were able to overcome as a couple?
Well, let me go back to a story that happened in Saudi. And I think the general fear has come out quite a few times in life, but this was a specific one where we really had to give our lives over to God and just really recognize he was in charge of them. So we were living in Saudi Arabia, and a compound nearby ours had been attacked, and literally gunmen came in, took the compound over, and were asking people if they were Christians. And so we had been in Saudi, I think about 2 years at the time. And we were both nervous, but I got really fearful. We had 2 little kids at the time, and I thought, where will we hide? What will we do? And then I was just like, we have to move. We have to leave. This is a very clear answer that we shouldn't live here anymore, because I was scared all the time and thinking about this. And so Brian actually flew to another country, interviewed for a job, but he asked me to pray while he was gone, that we'd both be praying about what God wanted us to do. And so I said, okay, God, I will pray, but I can only stay living here if you tell us to stay. I can only stay if you take away the fear. And he did. Literally in one weekend, Brian was gone. He came back, and we both kind of checked in what God had told us and where we were. And we both felt really clear we were supposed to stay. And from that time on, God did take away the fear. So in that one situation, I totally believe in God can change a heart. God can take away fear, because I know he did it for me. And I think in our bigger picture, then we've been able to hold on to this, and you can add any more if you want. We've been able to hold on to this, that God knows us, and that he knows where we are, where we're supposed to be, and has really worked on taking away those fears in different times, financially, when we have financial fears that creep up, when we have fears for our children that creep up, when we have different things that come, like, God, are we on track with where you are, which have all been real ones for us in the last few years? You can say, okay, I know that's God can take that fear. He can work in those scary situations where in our flesh, we just want to live in that fear.
That's
Anything
good.
you want to add on?
Yeah, I remember coming back from Saudi Arabia, and I had a really clear, strong peace. It's that peace that passes all understanding. And I just knew, like, we're supposed to stay in Saudi. And I was fearful of telling that to Maryann, because I was like, she's ready to leave. She's not going to be, this is not going to be the message she wants to hear from me.
Yeah.
And it was amazing that when I shared that with her, said, I just feel totally at peace that we're supposed to stay, and just expecting this reaction of like, nope, I already packed the bags, we're leaving. And she said, you know what? I have to. And it was just amazing how God had brought us together on that. So
and I guess the follow-up is we stayed 10 more years, and God took us into ministry there that we never would have dreamed, and I think, what if we had left? What if we had let fear control us? We would have missed out so much, and so much growth that God took us to, because we stayed.
Yeah, it's so cool,
Wow.
you guys. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And that is in the book, just so you know. the book is Your Adventurous Life Awaits. That little story, at least a piece of that, is in either chapter 1, 2, or 3. I can't remember which. But so that's fantastic. I want to remind people that we only just have a couple minutes, but I just want to remind people that you can get Your Adventurous Life Awaits. Your Adventurous Life Awaits. You can get it at Amazon, local bookstore. So do search it. What is the website that they can find out about Adventurous Life?
It's Your Adventurous Life Awaits.com. So it's the book title, exactly like that, and then just .com at the end.
Okay, so that's really easy, you guys. Your Adventurous Life Awaits. YourAdventurousLifeAwaits.com.
I can put it in the comments.
Yeah, I do. Jennifer will put that in the comments, show notes there, so that everyone's got that. But I just want to remind people that it's worth the read, and it's a pretty quick read. But I want to encourage you also to check out the workbook that is along with it. That can also be got on Amazon or through Your Adventurous Life Awaits. The workbook will allow you to kind of go along. I encourage, I mean, I can only say what I'd encourage. I encourage everyone just to read the book, not worry about the workbook at first, just to read the book and then get the workbook, go through it a second time, and then take an opportunity to start with it. It's got some practical kind of tools that are in there, sheets that really end up being tools for you to kind of put it practically and apply them to your life. So check that out. I encourage you to do that. Yeah. And we will be giving a copy next week away to this book. So next week, stay tuned. We're going to be giving one away next Thursday night. And I have given, I don't know how many copies of this book I've given away, but probably well over a dozen. It's not good not having you guys so close anymore. I can't just go say, hey, I need 5 more copies. So I'll have to get another supply, but buy some. But anyway, it's just it's a great book, and I want to encourage everyone to do that. Now we only have a couple minutes, so I got to make sure I have time for my dad jokes and her mom jokes. But I also want to just wrap up our time together. We have about 4 or 5 minutes left, and you're in the process right now of writing another book. Our listeners and viewers may not know that, but it's really taking your adventurous life and the coordinates and tying them in to kind of the gospel account, as well as applying them to our gospel life and living out the gospel. So share just for a minute or two. Maryann, you're kind of the lead on that. So share with us just a little bit about it.
Well, when you say I'm the lead on it, it means I'm just writing this one on my own.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know how to say it.
I tried to get my name on it, but she wouldn't let me. So.
Oh man. Maybe you get a dedication or a footnote.
He gets in the thanks, but God really put on my heart that these are from him, that these 7 coordinates are when you're living for him, these apply as well. And he really just hit me how the disciples are some of the greatest adventurers of all times, and how they weren't at the beginning. They were really, many of them, they just lived a comfortable life, a normal life like many of us. And he just pushed them outside their zone of comfort, pushed them to try new things, put them in awkward situations. And they had to persevere through really hard times while Jesus was with them on earth, and then after he was gone. And if you love The Chosen, if you haven't seen that yet, definitely go watch it. But seeing the disciples as these real people struggling with all of these 7 coordinates, just like we do, really was encouraging to me. And so I wanted to let readers hear that as well. So you can pray for me. I'm in a waiting time. The book is finished and being looked at right now by a publisher. So yeah, I hope to get it out to you soon and can be encouraged.
That's exciting.
Really in a more biblical, I've learned a ton even by reading about the disciples, and God showed me some really cool things. So I hope the same as well for the readers when it gets out there.
That's great.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I just want to affirm again, you guys and the work that you've done, and remind our listeners, our viewers, that this book, although not, again, an overtly Christian book, I want to assure you, you can hear from me that by going through Your Adventurous Life Awaits, you're going to see at the center of that gospel principles and scriptural principles that are going to flow from the story of God to your life, and they will help you. Now, it's a gift as well to those that aren't followers of Jesus, because, I told one of my coaches one time, my executive coach, I said, I need to write a book sometime called Hijacked from the Gospel, because God is at the center of all creation. He breathed life into existence, okay, from nothing. And God is an adventurer. I mean, at the center of the universe is a triune God that loves us and cares for us. And everything you look at, from the creation to the children of Israel to going forth in obedience, it's all calling you out of your comfort zone into a life of obedience and joy and love with a God who loved us first. And just as you guys talked about in the beginning, Maryann, that you are talking about with the Gospels and what's happening with this new book, which we're totally excited. How come I haven't got a copy, by the way, to do a pre-read in? And I need a pre-read and an endorsement thing on there. But
of course.
Anyway, so no, but really, when you think of the gospel, Jesus comes onto the scene. So first of all, God leaves that triune position in order to come and live life, the greatest adventure of all, and calls his disciples to follow him. And from the very beginning, he's like, hey, how are you? Why don't you drop your business and come follow me? I'm going to give you a new way to do life. And so it's just amazing. He takes that was in the Jewish tradition, and he doesn't boo-hoo it. He doesn't cancel the law. But no, what does he do? He invites them into a relationship that will rock their world, and a life and an adventure that will change them forever. And so now we're here tonight at the Live It Out live stream, totally changed because, and are being changed, I should say, by God's grace and his love. And so if you want to capture your adventure, I encourage you, check out the book and check out the website and have an opportunity to connect with the Remsburgs. They do some coaching online as well. And so if you are not in the Portland metro area and can't meet them face to face, they also do some coaching, some life coaching via video. And we'll take you on some adventures. You can find about those exciting adventures on their website. And so I encourage you to do that. And so let me just say thanks again, Brian and Maryann, for being a part of our lives and a part of the show tonight. I know that our viewers are blessed by you, and it's just really cool to have you. I wanted you to see their beautiful faces right there before we go. But anyway, hey, hold on just for a few minutes if you can, and we're going to hold you over into the green room just for a second. But we will be back because we're looking forward to chatting with you guys in just a sec. Okay. But again, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much. It was awesome. So
fun.
All right, you guys. Well, very fun for us to be with all of you tonight. And it's super fun when our friends can be on here and such a quality amount of content you get. So you'll get it with the book as well. So check that out and stay tuned. Next week, we'll be giving a copy away of Your Adventurous Life Awaits. I'm not going to tell you what the question is now, but there'll be a giveaway next week. All right. Well, hey, before we go, we have to give you some really cool dad and mom jokes. So, honey, you want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
I've decided, that I don't trust stairs anymore. They're always up to something.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, yeah. You're controlling the sounds tonight? Oh, I don't know. Okay, enough of that.
A good laugh.
I don't know. Hey, what's the best thing about Switzerland?
I don't know.
I don't know, but the flag's a big plus. Okay, I got you on that one, didn't I? You got that. Okay, all right. Enough about that. All right, you got another one?
No, that's all I had.
What?
Oh, okay. Well, all right, one more. So what do you call the fear of giants? It's called fee-fi-phobia.
And yeah. All right. Well, hey, last question for you, hon. Where do you go to learn how to make banana splits?
I don't know.
Sunday school.
Of course.
Come on. I got you on two good ones tonight. All right. Hey, We love being with you. Thanks for everybody for your comments and for hanging with us, and a few new folks that came on tonight and comment that we have not had on before. So always wonderful to have new people. So we'll see you next Thursday at the Live It Out live stream with John and Jennifer. But I want to remind you of something before we do our normal close. Okay, God is for you. He is for you in your adventure. There is fear, there are struggles, there are things ahead of us, but He can navigate you by His grace and His love through every coordinate that is before you. So wherever you find yourself, just be reminded of that. And it's so true. So thanks for interacting with us on the either live on the live stream or on the restream watching later. We created this venue to provide a practical and interactive way to help you and others live out the gospel.
So if you love our show and you stand with our mission, please consider giving a tax-deductible donation to eternalimpact.org.
Until next time, friends, we genuinely pray that the joy of life and the gift of His grace will be tangible in and through you as you live it out. God bless.
Have a good week.